And then one of the producers asked Jesse in the confessional, so basically you got back together with Michelle because you were concussed. Jesse laughed and said, yeah, I've been concussed for 8.5 years.
Yeah.
Which is the
Yeah.
time frame. Welcome to We Wine Whenever. Grab your glass and join 3 Jersey Shore housewives, Wendy, Kelly, and Lori, as they dive into everything from Bravo drama to life's everyday chaos. It's unfiltered, it's hilarious, and it's the real talk you've been waiting for, from relationship to pop culture. We drink wine whenever, and we hope you do too. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star review. Cheers! Welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
We are talking about The Valley, Season 2, Episode number 12. Will you...
12?
I know.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. Will you Maui me? All right, it's okay. It's corny, but it's okay. We start out with dinner, and Luke and Kristen are running a little bit late to the dinner. Luke is kind of dealing with some emotions of his grandmother and her illness. So they show up a bit late to the dinner, and Brittany is talking about her nanny Zuli is staying at the house while she's gone, and Jax can go to the house while she's gone to go visit with Cruz, which I was glad to hear that.
So basically, it's like supervised visitation with the nanny.
Yes, exactly.
Good.
Yeah. I thought this was weird. So Jason's sitting next to Aaron, and he asked, how he's doing being on vacation with Jesse. And Aaron and Michelle say, his behavior is not been any better towards them, And
they're literally at the end of the table talking about Jesse, who's on the other side of the
end
table.
of the table, right? Which is why I thought this is so weird, right?
Weird.
And Jason is supposed to be friends with Jesse, so I guess he's trying to make conversation. I don't know. Aaron and Michelle are both saying that, you don't see him, he's still, acting out, but you don't see what he's doing. It's way worse.
Yeah, because Jason was like, oh, from what I see, things are cool.
Yeah,
which
looks
I
good.
think Jesse's very good at putting that facade on, certainly when cameras are rolling.
Yeah. I did also think it was interesting that when dinner was over, Jason announces that he's going to take care of the bill. I mean, they were on a cash trip. Why is anyone taking care of the bill?
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, and I even played it back. I was like, did I get that right? And I played it back. He absolutely said that.
That's interesting.
That's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought.
I didn't watch the after show. Did you? Did that happen to come up?
I did not watch the after show. I
didn't either.
Have time.
I started to, and then I had to turn it off. I had to work.
So after he says that, Jesse asks Aaron to, to hold back here, and because everyone's going to go back to Zach's, so they want to see the presidential suite. And you can see Michelle is like, well, I don't really want to leave him alone. And the other girls are like, well, what do we do? And she's kind of standing there, but she kind of gives them their moment. And Jesse sits down and says, I think it's time that you and I have a conversation. Listen, I think that they should have had a conversation. I don't know that this was the time to have it, but okay. I mean, better late than never, right?
Right.
And then Danny says, as a father of Isabella, something that you did really bothered me. And you wouldn't know that because you're not a father. Okay. There's your first dig. There's your first dig, right?
That's right. Right.
Coming back on Father's Day, after having my mother and my friends send me screenshots of you and my daughter out on Father's Day, that's disrespectful that you posted that picture of my daughter without even asking her father. I agree with him. I absolutely
agree with him. I do.
I do too.
On Father's Day. Father's Day. If it were any other day, okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I agree.
Yep. And he said, that was a big slap in my face from Michelle. And Aaron said, yeah, I wasn't even thinking of that. We were having such a good day. And, then I put myself in your shoes and I said, that wasn't right. So I took it down. And,
yeah. I mean, at least he acknowledged, right?
Yeah. But like Jesse said in his confessional, it doesn't even really matter. If, Aaron and I are in a good place and, he says that he's going to, ask my permission or, run things by me. If Michelle's not on board with it, it's not going to happen.
He's totally right.
He is totally right. But there's nothing he can do about that. It is what it is at this point, right? Then he asks, Aaron says, well, can you treat us with respect? And that's...
respect goes both ways.
Right. But then that's when he says, let me ask you a question. Did you or did you not cross the line with Michelle while I was married to her, whether it was physically or emotionally? And you're looking at Aaron and he's like, absolutely not. I was like, That's not the answer I really saw coming out of that, and I don't know if it's the way that they edit it or not.
I know, because he did go on to say that there were texts a few times.
Yes, he said
Like,
that.
about what? What were you texting about? Because
Well, he
if it
yeah.
was about your honey, well, he did say it was about the
Well,
honey,
he
right?
said that he said that we met up once for coffee, and then once I texted her when I was selling honey at Runyon, which is what he said. Like, that's what Jesse said. Like, she was going to Runyon Canyon,
Yeah.
and that's where his honey was. So
And then the honey was in the cabinet.
right. And then in his confessional, he's saying, I think this is total bullshit. Like, he still and
And
I
why
get
are
it.
you meeting him for coffee? Like, I don't meet men for coffee. I don't.
Right. No, I don't either.
Right.
I
You
don't
don't
either.
drink coffee, but if you had.
That's very true.
But I mean, why, like, I wish Jesse would be like, "Well, why did you meet for coffee?"
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you're doing
That's a
business with
relationship,
somebody and
right,
you
that's a relationship. He said that, he knew her, like, he'd see her around, he'd always see her. That's what he kept saying, he'd always see her around. So then Jesse says, she triggers me, and she really has a way of getting under my skin, which she definitely does. I
Yeah,
think
but
just
he's also actually admit to doing it to her too.
yes. Oh, yeah. I don't
So,
think honestly, what I was gonna say is I don't think she does it intentionally. I think just her mere existence triggers him. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think she's doing it intentionally, whereas he is doing it intentionally, he said he was.
totally. And I agree with you. I don't think she's doing it intentionally. I think it, again, goes back to what the other girl said on the after show that time. Like, he just can't believe he lost her.
Mhm.
But yet the whole time he was with her, he wasn't,
He wasn't
you know
present. Right, he wasn't doing
right,
what he needed to do.
right.
So, then we see Nia and Danny, they're gonna be going fishing with Luke and Kristen, which we know that that's gonna happen. They're
Did you see
trying
the spray tan in that bed?
oh my god, that, was
I
disgusting.
I get spray tans a lot. That has never happened to me. Did she go home after the dinner and get a spray tan and then immediately lay in the bed?
I don't
I'll
know
go
because
for a spray tan in the morning or at night, even if I go for a spray tan at night. If I wait like 2 hours, that was wild.
I thought that was
That
wild too,
spray
and
tan was wild.
the other thing I thought that was wild, she didn't even look to me like she was tan. I mean, unless I missed it. I mean, I've never had a spray tan. I've never done it. I've never done a spray tan, so I would not
Yeah,
know. But to me, when I looked at her, I was like, "Oh, she doesn't even look to me to be tan." Like,
it was probably the lighting, because if you have, like, ring lights on you, you're gonna look lighter.
okay. Oh, that could be.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she probably was tan,
Yeah.
but because of all the lighting from the camera crew, you
She
couldn't
didn't
tell.
yeah. Yeah, that was wild. So the girls are at the pool. Danny and let's see. Nia, Danny, and Kristen and Luke weren't at the pool, right? Because they were getting ready to go to the
Fishing.
fishing trip. Brittany asked
Yeah.
Janet if she's spoken to Kristen, and she said she hasn't spoken to her since El Coyote. And then Jasmine says that she had breakfast with her this morning. And so Michelle says to Janet that she's mad at you because Kristen wanted to have the conversation with Michelle. And then Janet jumped into it. So she couldn't have the because it had nothing to do with Janet.
Nothing.
And Aaron asked, like, how did the conversation get so heated so quickly? Which is a really valid question. And Janet said, well, there's these group of people that whenever the heat is on them, all of a sudden these made up rumors get thrown out. I'm like, group of people?
They
Really?
deflect.
Yeah. Jason was a victim of it. You guys were a victim of it. It's deflection to me, Janet says. I'm like, come on.
Right. So let's break it down. Kristen was not deflecting last season when she was talking about Michelle. Michelle clearly was seeing somebody. Whether it was Aaron or not, we don't know. We don't give a fuck.
Right.
But that's not deflection. That was the truth. She just happened to say it on camera. And the Jason thing, she did repeat something she heard, but she's already said she wasn't she was just coming for you because you kept going for Nia and Danny.
That's right.
It's
That's
very
right.
clear cut. So Janet, sit the fuck down and stop going after Danny and Nia. Unless you want Kristen to bring stuff up about your husband that she has genuinely heard.
Which,
Because it's
by the
been
way,
established that it was put out there by somebody.
yep, it was. It was. Saw on Bravo Snark side today that Nia disabled commenting on her posts. Not
Nia?
Nia. No, Janet. Sorry.
Janet. Okay, I
Janet
was going to
did.
say, that
No,
makes more
Janet.
sense. Because who
Janet
the
did.
hell is commenting on
No,
poor Nia?
Janet did. And the funny thing about it is Danny Bucco liked it. The Snark side.
That's so funny.
So funny, right? I was like, oh my God.
That's hysterical.
Right? So funny.
Yeah. I mean, she's the most hated reality TV star right now.
She is n
Reality TV personality, excuse me. She is not a star.
okay, that's very
We
true,
do
and
not
she
refer
is
to her as a
no, she
star.
really is not she's not liked, and she shouldn't be because
No,
she's
she should not.
horrible. And while this
Terrible.
whole conversation, Michelle's like, "I just wanna be at the pool with my hot boyfriend, like, and enjoy this day." And why do we keep bringing up his ex-girlfriend? Because, like, this is what is coming up. Like, and she's like,
So funny how she does not want anybody talking about Jenna.
"Do you blame her? I mean, would you want
I
someone
don't
talk."
blame her at all. I just think it's funny that
Yeah,
this girl keeps getting brought up.
yeah.
And really, like, who cares? Like, who's so what's the mindset here? Jesse reached out to somebody, Zach, Kristen, whoever, and was like, listen, this is what we should do this season. We should bring Jenna back on because Aaron dated her 15 years ago. And then maybe we can make it like he cheated on Michelle with her. Right. Because that's what basically they were trying to prove, that Michelle went to his house and he was in bed with somebody else, or
Right, right, right,
nobody cares.
right. Exactly, exactly. You guys are working too hard on this,
Way too hard.
right? Yeah. No, totally
Way,
agree.
way too hard. And Jesse, quite honestly, nobody cares if Michelle cheated on you, right?
Well, actually, we don't care, but there are people that do care, and
You're right.
people
People
do
do.
care. They do care. I
Yeah.
mean, Michelle is a villain in their eyes because she admitted to
Yeah.
cheating, even
Yeah.
though he's a douche, but for
He
whatever
wasn't
reason.
having sex with her.
No, he wasn't, and he's
He
well, he hasn't admitted it. She admitted it, but he did not.
right.
He didn't admit
He
it.
wasn't having sex with her. What?
Right.
4 years, 5 years? Even
Yeah.
listen, again, even if it was 1 year, even if it was 2 weeks and your wife came to you and was like, "I need to be intimate with you. This is what I need." And you don't do it?
Yeah, but it wasn't even I mean, I don't even think that was even the big crux. It wasn't he didn't make her feel special. He didn't
No,
tell her
not
she
at
was
all.
pretty. He didn't do anything. Like, he could have just been nice to her. He wasn't even nice to her, right? I mean, that's what it came down to. Then we see Kristen goes to Zach and Benji's room, and oh my gosh, she almost walked in when they're trying to pack up all the stuff with the, her all her
The
surprises.
T-shirts?
Yeah, and they're like, "I'm naked," and she walks right in, and she's like, "Oh, look at that."
I feel like she may have walked in on them naked once or twice
Maybe,
before.
maybe.
She's like, "Whatever."
Luke is saying that last night was a disaster. He was very emotional. He was in his feelings. And Kristen is saying, I don't think. And then, because then Luke shows up after Kristen's in there. And Kristen's saying, Oh, I don't think I want to shower before
My
we go
god,
on the
that was so
boat.
funny.
And no, Luke is like, No, you're not going to have time. Like, you definitely want to shower because, we're going to go right to the luau. She's like, Nah, I don't want to shower. And listen, I was thinking the same thing. I don't want to shower before I go to a boat either.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
if they were fishing,
They were
like, what's
fishing.
the point?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to shower either.
No.
But he's trying to talk her into showering, and so is Luke, like, they're all like, You probably should shower." Then we see Jax with Cruz at the house. He lets us know it's been 7 days since he got out of the facility. He thought that Cruz might have forgotten about him. Okay, I mean, he's not gonna forget about you, Jax.
That's a little dramatic, Jack.
Yeah. The next scene
Did
I
you
thought was
think that Cruz looked a little, like,
well, I mean, we know he's on the spectrum, so I don't think Cruz's emotions are really something that would indicate what he's feeling. Like, what he's
yeah,
showing on his face, I don't think that
you're
those are
right.
indicating his emotions
Yeah.
because of his condition, I would say that. The next scene where we see Jason, Jesse, and Aaron are all having shaved ice together, I was like, "Whoa, like, okay, we're
A
doing
little
this?"
awkward.
I
Yeah.
kind of actually liked it though. I'm like, "Okay, if we're
Yeah.
doing this, like, let's do it,"
Yeah.
right? Jesse's in his confessional and he says, like, it's in his best interest, to get along with Aaron because Isabella says that she loves him, which I thought was such a strong word. But then they show you a clip.
I mean, we saw it. We saw it already.
I know.
That was in
I
the
know.
very beginning of the season.
I know.
I think that's a little I think that's crazy, quite honestly, that she's
I
telling him that she loves him.
well, I feel a lot of ways about it, to be honest with you. I mean, if I was Jesse, that would be like, "Whoa. How do
Crushing.
you" Yeah, yeah. I mean, and even solidify his theory more that he'd been around way before.
Yeah, and the thing is that she's so little. She's so
Yes.
young.
She's so young. That's what it
It's
is that
not
she's so
like
young.
it's not like like they got together and it's 10 years later and this guy's been through it with her and you know what I
Right.
mean? Like everybody's co-parenting and
Right.
he's a great stepdad and
Right.
it's not
No.
like we're not there yet.
No, what is she,
I
4
just
years
thought
old?
that that was really quick and she's so young to be saying that to somebody she doesn't know that well.
Right. I did too, and then I also thought like, "Oh my god, like, what if this doesn't work? Now she's gonna lose Aaron?"
Exactly.
Like, that's
Exactly.
my first thought, like, "Oh, like, why isn't anyone protecting Isabel?" I mean, and by anybody, I mean actually Michelle.
Michelle.
Yeah.
No, she's encouraging it.
Yeah.
She's
I
holding
don't
the phone up.
yeah.
I don't co-sign that.
I don't either. I don't either.
No.
I don't either.
How about the story about him? I did seem a little staged where Aaron was like, "When was the last time you played hockey?" And Jesse tells the story that it was 2016. He got buried in the corner, had a concussion, and called Michelle to pick him up from the hospital. And that's when they got back together.
Right, they hadn't been dating for a few weeks, and he was like, "Well,
Yeah.
who do I call?" I know, I thought that
Yeah.
that was a little staged too.
Yeah. Because for Aaron to bring up, I don't know. To me, it did.
It
It seemed
was.
it.
It was a little staged. I felt that same way, and then Aaron asked him, "Well, if you didn't call her to pick you up, would you have gotten back together?" And Jesse said, "No."
Right.
I mean,
And you figure that's
what does that tell you?
2016.
Right.
They filmed this in 2024. That's 8 years ago. Isabella's what, 5?
I think she's only 4.
Yeah,
Maybe she's
so
5.
they were together a while before they had her. I didn't realize that. I thought it was very honestly, I thought they dated for a little while, Michelle got pregnant, so they got married. That's what I thought happened, but it doesn't seem like that.
Yeah,
They must have been dating for quite some time.
I know. And then and then one of the producers asked Jesse in the confessional, "So basically you got back together with Michelle because you were concussed?"
Yeah,
Jesse laughed and said, "Yeah, I've been concussed for 8.5 years,"
yeah,
which is the
yeah.
time frame, right?
Yeah.
And then Aaron said, "Was it the only time you guys broke up?" And Jesse said, "Well, yeah." And Jason said, "Well, no, there was the other time you guys broke up." And Jesse said, "Yeah, when Aaron started dating her." I was like, this is just really."
And then he said something about her sleeping in his bed while dating Aaron, but I listen, if she was still living in the house, okay, but she wasn't sleeping in bed. If she was sleeping in that bed, Jesse was not. It might
Right,
have been the marital bed, but he wasn't in there with her.
right. There's no way.
No
Right.
way.
Yeah. But then Jesse said, "Well, technically, Michelle and I are still together, right, lawyer?" And he said, to Jason, he nods to Jason. Aaron looks uncomfortable. He said, that must feel real good." Like, technically, they're still married, but yet here I am. I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh God, like, you
banging your
guys."
wife. And then, of course, Jax has to FaceTime so he could be on the trip somehow.
Yep. Yep. Jesse also does say, "Listen, I'm gonna do my part not to call Michelle a lying, cheating whore." Okay,
Thanks.
great.
You are so awesome.
Like, he's gotta actually say those words out loud. Like, you have to say those words out loud.
Literally, he's the worst.
And so that, they agree that they're gonna move forward and be friends, or at least cordial together. I won't say they'll have shaved ice together, right? So then we see Kristen and Luke and Nia and Danny are fishing, and Nia's trying to get Kristen to take pictures, like looking cute, and Kristen's like, "Oh my god, I'm so hot. I don't feel cute," and she's like not wanting to do this, and then Danny's trying to tell Luke, he's like, "I can't get the ring. She's sitting on the bag. The ring is in my," and and then Nia's like, "All right, we're gonna lose the lighting, Kristen. We're gonna lose the lighting." So Kristen gets up, they get the ring, and then they're taking the pictures of Danny and Nia, and they're like, "Okay, now let's get pictures of you." And I thought it was so cute how Luke is like positioning her to look at the
Yeah,
dolphins,
the
and then he gets
dolphins.
right. He gets down on one knee and she turns around and she's like, "What the fuck?" And I just started cracking up. I was like, "Oh my God." Like,
And you know me, I never believe anything on these shows are real.
did
I
you believe that was
honestly do
real?
not think she knew.
No, I definitely do not think she
Really don't
knew.
think she knew.
I mean, that reaction, like, "What the fuck? Are you serious?" Like, that was like, she looked pissed, like,
Yeah,
"What the fuck?"
yeah.
I mean,
I
not
mean,
that she
I thought that
was.
was great.
I literally laughed out loud when he, like, positioned her there and she turned around and he was on his knee. I was like, "Oh my god, he really got her." Like, she was really surprised.
Totally. And
And
listen, I don't think there's a better person out there for her. He really does just let her be who she is.
yeah, that's what she said
Kooky
in her
Kristen.
confessional. Yep, that's what she said in her confessional. He's like my rock. He lets me be who I am.
Yeah.
And he said, "Will you be the catch of my lifetime?" Which I thought was so sweet.
I did hear that on the after show. She said Luke was like, "Did I really say that? It's so corny." She was like, "It is corny, but I really liked it."
Yeah. Then Zach and Benji are going over to Kristen's and Zach's room so that they can switch their stuff because they're switching rooms.
That's so fucking annoying that they had to do that. I'm like, poor Zach and Benji have to go pack someone else's shit up?
I
Fuck
know.
that. Oh,
And then,
sorry. I'm trying not to curse.
yeah, I did think that was annoying too. And listen, what's her name? Kristen didn't know about it, but like they said,
Luke knew.
Luke knew. So, like, why did he unpack every last thing? Like, put everything in the
Exactly.
drawers? Like,
Eric does that when we go away. He unpacks everything. He's using drawers. I'm like, you're out of your mind. I live out of a suitcase when we're away. If there's something that needs to be steamed, I take it out, I hang it up. But everything is in a specific space. I'm not
see,
forgetting anything.
I like to unpack too. I unpack.
God.
I unpack. I'm an unpacker.
What about Bill? Does Bill unpack?
Bill
He does
unpacks.
whatever you do.
No, Bill unpacks. He'll be like, as soon as we get into the room, he's like, "Okay, come on, let's unpack." Even if I don't want to unpack right that second, he wants to unpack right away. Unpack immediately. Let's unpack. I go, okay, let's unpack. I mean, I'm glad we both like to unpack, but I don't,
Right.
we need
Maybe
to do
not right the second you
right.
walk in.
Nope, he needs it because he wants to get the luggage away. He doesn't want to see the luggage. He wants to get that hidden someplace. He's moving in there. Wherever it is we're going, whether it's a night, a 2-night, 5 nights, he is moving in.
That's what Eric's putting shit in the safe. I'm like,
Oh,
what the fuck are you putting in the safe? We have nothing of that much value that needs to be put in the safe.
built us the
And
same
Eric
thing.
will forget the combination that he set for himself.
Bill's very much into the safe as well.
Yes, always uses the safe. I'm like, well, I don't. You know what? Maybe I don't want to know.
Yeah, probably not.
Maybe I don't want to know what's going into the safe.
It's so funny because, we're leaving soon for vacation, and I'm sure there's gonna be a safe, and he'll be like, "All right, let's put your jewelry in the safe." I know it's gonna be a conversation. I know he's gonna be, "Come on, where's your jewelry? Let's put it in the safe." "Okay, we're gonna put my jewelry in the Okay, let's do it."
All right, this is so funny.
So then they run into Jesse, and they're like, "Oh gosh, we're gonna have to tell him what's going on." And they tell him, and he's like, "Oh, like, let's get them 500 white roses and 500 hibiscus petals." I'm like then he's like, "No, let's get them 1,000." I'm like, "What are you doing?"
I thought it was so funny. Zach's like, Jesse wants 500 white roses, 1,000 hibiscus flowers, but Michelle said
Michelle
he's
says he's
broke.
broke.
I guess he's got a credit card.
Right. Yeah, I laughed at that too. And then he calls up and he gets disconnected. I'm just
They're like, well, F off. Like, no, we can't do that.
no, it was funny. So then we see Brittany and Janet and Jason in the suite together. And Brittany says to Janet, "You think we can room service shots?" And she's like, "Yeah." And Jason's like, wait, whoa. "No, I'm dressed. I'll go downstairs and just get a bottle of tequila." And Janet's like, "This is why Jason's in the girls' room." And I was thinking, oh my God, this would so be Bill. I would be like saying, like, let's do, and Bill would go, "Oh, no. Let me go. Let me go
Right.
get this," right? Like that would
Yeah.
be so Bill.
Yes. Yes.
And then we see Jasmine's talking to Melissa. She's surprised that nobody knows because Jasmine figured it out
She
before.
figured it out. But had she spoken to anybody about it yet?
She had told Zach that she knew, and Zach was mad, but she had figured it out because she said, like, "Why isn't Zach hanging out with me? Like, what's going on?" Like, she felt something was off. And then Melissa's like, kind of, "Oh no, this is a double." And do you see Jasmine? She's like,
Yeah.
"Wait, no, you better not do that." And then she didn't really let it go right away. And then she's like, "No, it's not real." I wasn't sure if she wanted it or she didn't. I think she kind of
I
did want it.
know. It was
I
hard
think
to
she kinda
tell.
I think she kinda did want it. I really do. I kinda felt like Jasmine kind of wanted it. Like,
Yeah.
she wasn't giving
Well,
us
that's
clear
gonna come up this season. They're gonna like because one of them saying, "Well, you have to do it," and the other one's like, "Well, you have to do it," which is it must be an interesting conversation
like, who
with
does it?
a gay couple. Like,
Same sex,
do
yeah.
you discuss it, or do you remember? Did you watch Modern Family? One of my favorite episodes is when Cam and Mitchell get engaged because they were both planning on doing it and had different people in the family helping them out, and of course, it gets all
Of course it does.
confusing.
Right.
But that's such a great episode. But yeah, I wonder, I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be a conversation, just like it doesn't have to be a conversation in a heterosexual
Well, it doesn't have to be a
relationship.
conversation,
It's
but
just
it
typically the man who does it. Not all the time, but typically the man who does it.
yeah, I know. I guess it is gonna have to we're gonna have to see how that plays out,
But
right?
it comes up this season between them, so it'll be interesting. I'd like to see another engagement.
Yeah, I would
Brittany's
too.
reaction was a little, I thought Brittany
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
making it about herself,
Well,
but
yeah, because Zach then calls over and tells Brittany, and the first thing she's like, "Oh, so only Danny and Nia got to be there?" And she's like, I'm her, like, best friend, like, why wasn't I there?"
will
And I
get
s
out of Janet's ass long enough
yeah.
to realize that this was going on.
I saw something on social media today that said the real reason Brittany wasn't a part of it, and I clicked on it and it didn't take me anywhere, so I don't know if there's a real reason, but I do think it could have had to do with the Janet situation and the fact that everything was going on in her life with Jax. Like, do you wanna get her involved in this? Like, no. She's got too
Uh,
much shit going on in her life.
yeah, I would think that Luke, right, would probably have thought, like, "You know what? She's got enough going on. Let's
Right.
just,"
And it's not like
yeah.
Luke was close with Jax. So he went to Danny, actually. And then, Zach figured it out. So, like, Zach got, like, you know what I mean? It,
Yeah,
it wouldn't have
yeah.
made sense for Brittany to have been a part of it. And there's no way, like, if Janet knew, there's no way that she wouldn't have ruined the surprise. She definitely would have ruined the surprise for Kristen.
Janet? For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So
For sh
they had to keep the circle very small, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
then Jason goes over to tell Janet and Michelle that he just overheard Zach telling Brittany that Luke and
It's like a
Kristen are
little
engaged
bitch
now.
boy, Jason.
I know. And he admits that he eavesdropped. It's not that he overheard. He said, "No, I was listening." I was like,
Gotta look up what firm he works for, because these people must be like, "Who did we hire?"
so then Janet in her confessional says, "Fuck, fuck. So now we've left our child for the first time, the longest time we've ever left him for Christmas, Kristen's engagement trip.
F
Way to
off,
make it about
Janet.
you, Janet. Way to make it about you."
Exactly.
And then Janet says, "If this dinner's for them, then I'm gonna bow out." And Janet calls Zach and says that she and, Jason think it would be best if, they weren't there. And, like, Zach is, like, thinking, "Oh my god, thank God," because Zach didn't want them there, but how do you not have
He
them there?
didn't, but he was telling her, like, "You can come to the dinner.
Right,
You could come to the dinner." And
right,
she wasn't happy.
right. So
Jason seemed a little disappointed that they weren't going though, didn't
well,
he?
Jason seemed disappointed about the whole thing, like, and even she kept saying Janet's like, "Well, I'm hungry. Like, let's just go eat." Like, it was all about the food, right? I mean,
I think
I
that was Janet's way of getting out of the situation as quickly as possible with Jason so they could take their mics off, because nobody wants to watch them too,
that's
and
probably the
go talk about how she really felt.
yes, because you could see that she felt a certain way, and Jason was not on board with the way she was feeling, because
Right, like,
then
she's like, "We're not doing anything tomorrow," and he's like,
right.
"Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right, because then Janet
Like,
goes to
pump
tell
the
Brittany
brakes."
that her and Jason are not gonna go to dinner, they're gonna go by themselves, and, she doesn't wanna she doesn't want Kristen to walk into her being there, like, her being all happy and her being there, and, and then Janet's like, "We'll just talk to everybody when we're back in LA," and Jason's like, "Wait, LA? Why?" And Janet's like, "Well, I'm not gonna hang out with them tomorrow either," and Jason's like, What do you mean?" Oh, what did she say? She said, "Oh, if we're gonna be excluded from one thing, I don't wanna jump into anything else." Jason said, "First of all, we weren't excluded from anything." And they weren't.
Right.
They were not
No,
excluded. And
no.
this is why I do like Jason, but then I don't like him because then he just falls in line. Like,
I
he's
know, but at least he said something like, "Can you stop making decisions without
right.
talking to me?"
Yeah.
Like, "It's nice
Yeah.
to meet you, Jason.
Yes. Yes,
Welcome."
you do have a set.
Right.
It's about time you start using them. Jason says, "It does make sense for us not to be there since like, I took off from work to be here. Like, this is my vacation also. This is," she kept just going, "No, this is theirs. This will always be their engagement trip. That's what this is." Like, she just kept labeling it. Like, she was like,
She
"All
shouldn't have
right."
been there. They should not have let her come, but I know. You
Yeah.
think otherwise. Cast trip, they all need to be there.
Yeah. Jason said, "I literally took off work and It's not about them. Brittany's saying that she feels, which I don't blame her. She feels weird that this conversation is happening in her bathroom while she's getting ready. And I don't blame her, like, having this argument. I'm be like, and then Jan is like, I'm just going to get food because I'm hungry. So in her confessional, she says, just because Kristen went for my marriage and Jesse and Michelle's marriage doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve a happy engagement celebration. What?
Yeah, F off, Janet.
Yeah. Um, we see Jesse's helping Zach and Benji get the suite ready for Kristen and Luke, which I really did think was hysterical.
That was very funny.
And then we see that they're coming back to the suite and they walk in and everyone's there with this, the shirts on and they're all surprised and they ask them not to post anything yet because they haven't told their family. And they're like, no, of course we won't. But were they going out to dinner after that? Is that what they were doing?
Yeah, so they were just putting the T-shirts on to take a group picture.
Okay.
And then they were going out to dinner where they could take the T-shirts off. Like, Zach was like, just put the T-shirt on so we could take a picture.
Okay.
But don't post anything until tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
then
then
I
they
guess
could wear their fancy outfits to dinner.
okay, so we ended it there. We didn't see the go out to dinner. And then I guess the next day they're going on a boat trip that it looks like Janet does wind up staying for because that's what we see is coming up next week.
Yeah, so Brittany again walks into the suite and is complaining that she didn't know anything and that she
Mhm.
could have done better. I don't know what the fuck she was saying. But Zach announced 2 surprises. They swapped rooms for the presidential
Yes.
suite, and then they were having hors d'oeuvres and stuff downstairs. Did you notice that Aaron was not in the suite with them?
No.
He was not in the suite with, not that I saw.
No, I didn't notice that. Well, that would be
Yeah,
weird. Why wasn't he
I
there?
know. I don't know.
No, I didn't notice that. That's interesting. I did notice people on social media were coming for Aaron and his eyes when he was talking to Jesse, how he didn't blink at all and his eyes were like popping out.
Listen, I'm not going to say that, what people want, what people are saying, but the guy's dog's name is Kilo. We've had this conversation.
Yes, the dog's name is Kilo.
Who names their dog Kilo?
Yes, that is true.
I
It's
saw
true.
that, though, that they were coming for him for his eyes. But I'm
Mhm.
not, listen, they're coming for Jody on Miami too with the eyes, and
I
there's nothing
know.
wrong with the guy's eyes.
No, there's not. There's
So
not.
stupid.
It is stupid. So I think that's all I have for the Valley for now, right? Do you have anything else?
I'm good.
Okay. So until next time, thank you for watching and listening. Please subscribe. Bye.
Bye.